greatest ever at it, but the players come in and it changes the culture. It changes the way things work. Well, Jeff Saturday can tell us exactly what that means with the story that you were telling me this morning. Jeff, it's fascinating.
Yeah, so listen, I know some coaches down there who coach in Indianapolis, and we've been talking all season about Tom Brady and some stories that kind of give you great examples of what he's talking about. How do you change culture? Well, they're on the bus. I think it was your Thursday or Friday of this week. This is Super Bowl week, right, Greeny? Like, you're leading up to the most intense game in most of these guys' career, not for Tom, but for everybody else. And they're back in the bus, and somebody makes the comment to Tom and Gronk about, hey, how does it feel being in your first Super Bowl without scandal? You know what I mean? Like, without any issues. And they said both those guys laugh and they love it, and they look back and like, how does it feel to be in your first ever playoff win? You know what I mean? So the banter going back and forth is just a thing of beauty, and that humility that he plays with and that he kind of ingratiates to his teammates is just fantastic. And then they talked about like the serious side of Tom Brady, right? That when Antonio Brown came to the organization, to the Buccaneers midway through the season now, and they had some struggles midway. It was Tom who goes and picks him up. It's Tom who lets him stay in his home and talks about, you know, hey man, you got to be part of this family. Leonard Fournette, who we know left Jacksonville under some issues, right? Is he brings Fournette into the fold and talks about, hey Leonard, man, if you run your route like this, you know, if you're swinging out of the backfield this way, there's nobody in the world that can cover you. You're too good. You're too physical. As the season progressed and he became a bigger part of this offense, you know, Tom encouraged him in those things. And I think it's the both and in those scenarios, that he's just one of the guys, that he's not an NFL superstar quarterback who's got too many things going on that he can't go get with his teammates. It's those things, Greeny, that change the culture in organizations. And like you said, when Bruce Arians said, hey, he's a winner, he's done this before. No, he hadn't done it before. He's done it 7 times, right? Winning it, not getting there, been there 10. How important is that? How much credibility does that give that man in that locker room, and how everybody else pulls off of that? Man, just incredible stories, and that's the defining moment of who Tom Brady is.
And Marcus, you understand the dynamics of a locker room as well as anybody, and just how important that kind of stuff is, and that is one big reason why the Buccaneers are where they are right now.
Absolutely, the believability. I think what Jeff said is a part of what we understand leadership to be. Not only, look, the main priority is winning in that league. Like, I don't want people to get it twisted. You could be all the leader you want to be, but if you're not out there doing your job at a high level, the words are just not falling on people's ears the same. And the fact that you have a guy that's going to come in where you know you can win with. You don't hope to win with him. You know you can win with him. All of the moves that were made, all of the things that he saw that they needed in order to win a championship, it was actually reaffirming to everyone else why Tom Brady has had the amount of success that he's had. Everybody plays with a little more juice when you have that guy. Everyone, it permeates through the whole team. The coaching staff, the people that work in the support staff, it changes the dynamic of everything when you know you can win, as opposed to hoping you can get the job done. And that's what Tom Brady provides more than anything.
It's fascinating. So those are some of the intangibles, and it was nice to be able to put examples to them. Meanwhile, Dan Graziano, there is one very tangible thing that Tom Brady can and maybe has to do almost immediately if this team is going to get back to the same place again next year. What is that?
Well, they could extend his contract. I mean, he's signed through 2021. It's a fully guaranteed $25 million. If they do an extension, even just a one-year extension that would take him into his age 45 season, where he says he wants to be, they could save about, you know, the way that Buccaneers do contracts with roster bonuses instead of signing bonuses, they could save about $7 million on this year's cap. And you're looking at, I mean, every dollar is going to count. Chris Godwin is a free agent. Shaquille Barrett is a free agent. Levante David is a free agent. They have work to do to keep this roster together. So I would not be surprised at all to see the Buccaneers extend Tom Brady's contract for cap purposes and potentially because he wants to be there more than the initial 2 years. Man, that Jeff Saturday story, though, I mean, the 4 guys that the 4 touchdowns in the Super Bowl were scored by guys that Tom Brady made them sign, right? Fournette and Gronk and AB. But just not just we need to get this guy, but AB, we need to get this guy, and now I'm going to help sell it in the locker room so that it works. Like, this guy's all in in that organization. It's not just some mercenary they went out and got.
And he has also been known to be involved in salary cap manipulation. I don't mean that in a negative way over all those years in New England. So keep a close eye for that in Tampa. So that's the winning side of Sunday. Now there's the other side and the other superstar quarterback in this game. And it was a night to forget for Patrick Mahomes. We'll go through all of the different ways. Finished the game 8 of 24 for 95 yards and a pick when he was under pressure. 1 of 12 for 4 yards when he was outside the pocket. According to our NFL Next Gen stats, he ran a total of 497 yards before his passes and sacks on Sunday. That is the most pre-throw, pre-sack yards by any quarterback in a game this year. And of course, he was pressured. It felt like every time he went back there, 29 pressures on the day on Patrick Mahomes.
I'm going to do whatever I can to kind of look at the film and try to find ways to get better. I mean, obviously with our offense and the success that we've had, when teams see that the defensive plan that he had and how well it worked, they're obviously going to try to do the same thing. And so try to find ways to combat that and kind of the evolution of our offense where we're going to have to do better things and be more efficient.
So I think the initial feeling coming out of that game, and understandably, was, well, you can't blame Mahomes. He was under siege. He did everything he could possibly do. But then I had a conversation on the radio yesterday with Howie Long, and as the day went on, I started to get a sense, and Jeff Saturday pick up this thought. Maybe there were some things he and the Kansas City coaching staff could have done that might have changed the outcome, and they just wouldn't do it. What is it?
Yeah, they should have changed their game plan in the half. Like you saw them come out of half, Greeny, and all of a sudden they decide to run the ball, and they're effective runs, right? When you have 2 high safeties and they're playing 2-man a bunch underneath, they are forcing you to run the football. And it's like they wouldn't get out of their own way. And let me tell you, from high-producing offenses, I played on them my whole career. 14 years, we led the league or were close to being the top of the league in offense. When you come to the sidelines after kicking field goals or punts, the pressure you feel, Greeny, as you walk over there, there's no continuity, right? All of a sudden, you start asking, hey, man, were you open? What were you doing? The lines look at each other. Hey, did you get your guy? Hey, is Patrick throwing the ball on time? Is he getting the ball out? Everybody asks those questions, and Mahomes actually said it in his press conference. I didn't get the ball out on time. I didn't know the routes receivers were going to run. The line didn't do a great job. All of those things could have been solved had they done what the defense was providing them. That's run the football, and then you find rhythm in your offense. You bring that safety down. You make sure they can't stay too high like they did. But I felt like the Chiefs went in and were stubborn with their game plan. And ultimately that cost them because, listen, you played into the Buccaneers, into their hands, into their defensive scheme and thought process. Let the front 4 rush, let the 7 drop back, and then use the team speed to come down and smother them. But I'm just telling you, Greeny, like the pressure you put on yourself as an offense that has carried this football team for really 2 years, and all of a sudden nothing's working and everybody's pointing fingers, it becomes really difficult to dig yourself out of that hole.
You know, Marcus, and so it's an interesting thought because we talked all last week. You have to pick your poison with the Chiefs. Pick your poison. And then they just shut them down completely. And the answer, Jeff is telling us, and I want to hear your perspective as a defensive player, is take the check down, run the football, force the Buccaneers to come out of what they were doing. And for whatever reason, the Chiefs never really gave that a try.
They never did, G, and it was arrogance. I like what Jeff is talking about. It was just Kansas City Chiefs arrogance. They thought that this thing would just turn into what normally happens for them. They would get behind, figure it out, and be able to go bombs away and score touchdowns and win the Super Bowl. But look, I love what Jeff said. I'm not getting in the scheme. I know Jeff Saturday is going to love what I'm about to say. The line of scrimmage mattered. And the line of scrimmage, there was a distinct advantage in this football game on both sides. I know we get enamored with the rush and the pressures on Patrick Mahomes, but when Tampa Bay brought in that extra old lineman and when Gronk was sealing the edges for Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones to get around them, that's when I knew the Kansas City Chiefs were in trouble. Look, we could talk scheme all we want. If you can't block them and if you can't run it, you not winning football games. And I feel so stupid because Graz is on here and he took the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And all of my football acumen for years told my crazy self to sit on that stage and take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this football game, knowing what that line of scrimmage looked like. I got enamored with Patrick Mahomes and the passing game and how explosive they are and the things that I had seen the Chiefs do. And I forgot my roots. And I want to personally apologize to Jeff Saturday, being another lineman on this show, for not following what I know about football. And the bottom line is this. You can put all the track stars you want to put out there. You can put the best quarterback you want to put out there. If you drop a piece of meat in the middle of lions and it ain't nobody else to protect them, that piece of meat gonna get ate, bro. And that's what happened to Patrick Mahomes. We could look at Patrick Mahomes' interview. It looked like he had been hit by a bear after that game. And that's exactly how he felt, man.